This is a special edition of Ask the Experts, and I am once again, and very excited to be, with the amazing Dr. Maryann from Health Wellness MD. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous.
I imagine you've been rather busy recently.
Extremely busy. Lots of questions from patients, lots of fears.
That's right.
Lots of hope.
Well, let's hopefully address these sometime in the next half hour. We have so many things to cover. I just kind of want to dive right in a little bit, First of all, what's your sense of things right now? How are things going around?
I think we're at the point of plateau, but I think we as physicians have failed to really address something basic and essential. Coronavirus is caused by, the coronavirus causes the COVID-19, so the actual disease process is COVID-19.
Okay.
And that is a composite of different symptoms: fever, shortness of breath, fatigue, and sore throats, headaches.
That's caused by the coronavirus?
Right. And so we're calling that whole disease process the COVID-19.
The COVID-19.
And what is taking the extreme high toll death is respiratory illness. So medicines are great, but we have to go down back to the basics. As Linus Pauling taught us, he won 2 Pulitzer Prizes, and the second one was on the power of vitamin C. So I have done lots and lots of extensive research on what are the most potent micronutrients that can help our immune system. Now, it is important, healthy lifestyles. Exercise is essential. 30 minutes of exercise daily does quite a bit of things, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So the pandemic started somewhere in mid-December, and many of us scientists really believe it probably was back in November or maybe late September in China, and that is Wuhan, China. We do not have a silver bullet to prevent this coronavirus, nor to cure it.
Yeah, I noticed that, we're on the 65th anniversary this week of, the vaccine for polio.
Correct.
And so, of course, that gives me a lot of hope that this can be conquered, too.
I don't think there's anything we can't conquer. The key factor here is how quickly can we do it.
Right.
And we have one of the brightest and smartest group of scientists that are really doing a great job and advising the president, and the president is doing a great job taking their advice. We don't have a silver bullet to optimize our immune system, but we have to optimize our immune system in every way we can.
So how do we do that?
All the micronutrients will add up to increase our defense, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
On the news, I won't say which channel, about 2.5 months ago, they advised people not to take vitamins and minerals.
What?
That is true.
Oh my goodness.
Of over-the-counter vitamins. They don't have the potency, and they're not even pure. One distributor, a popular distributor, we took a poll of 12 samples, 12 different locations, 12 different lot numbers. 10 had absolutely nothing in them, and 1 had 10% of what was on the label.
And this is the over-the-counter stuff we're talking
Absolutely.
about. So,
from a mass distributor.
Wow, that's all of a sudden become as rare, I guess something effective there has become as rare as toilet paper, right?
Right. Right.
So, okay.
So most of your vitamins, do not buy them over the counter. Do not buy them. You need to get the medical grade nutrients. They're extremely potent. They have no fillers, no trace heavy metals and lead, which many of the vitamins that you do buy over the counter. But there is no exception. Food no longer has the nutrients in it that it used to. And that has to be understood by the medical professions. It is our job to make sure we're providing our patients with an array of essential nutrients. And we do that at my clinic. We even have an online store.
Okay. I was going to say, with the food thing that you were talking about, I mean, that's something that has sort of snuck up on all of us. We're just not getting from food what we used to.
No, we definitely cannot do that. But the essentials things, diet, very rich in vegetables and fruits. And you would be amazed that people will only eat maybe 3 fruits. Diversity is really important because we get micronutrients from vegetables and fruit. Now, we'll never get enough. You'd have to eat nonstop and gain weight, which that in itself is going to cause more problems. So regular exercise, it naturally boosts our immune system. It improves our cardiovascular health. It lowers our weight and blood pressure. And while we exercise, we also raise our temperature, which can actually be an antiviral, antibacterial defense in itself.
Wow.
We want to keep a healthy weight. I caution against alcohol. That will lower your immune system. 8 hours of sleep, and find activities to reduce your stress. Play like a child. Dance. Have fun.
I have never in my life, except in this particular time, I have never in my life seen so many people out walking.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
you see it like everywhere you go. People are walking, and people are, just trying to get that 30 minutes you're talking about.
I do caution, if you do go outside or you're within 6 feet of someone, it is essential to wear a mask.
Okay.
And that mask does not have to be a medical surgical mask. It can be something that's homemade. I have a wonderful patient, Brenda Stewart, who has made over 200 masks for first responders for them to use. They have their N94 mask at work, but this is for their families at home.
That's awesome.
Yes, and she has donated all of the resources. So this hard time has shown us that we are really bringing out a celebration of humanity.
We really are. There's a
Helping each
lot
other.
of heroes that you're finding out in this
So many
time.
heroes.
And that woman is
You're
one
a
of them.
hero putting this information out on the news.
We're trying.
Yes.
Anyway, talk to me a little bit about how to strengthen, as you were talking about, the immune system. I mean, what can we do other than, eat right and exercise, and then talk about a little more about the medical grade
Nutraceuticals,
supplements.
yeah.
Nutraceuticals,
Yes.
okay.
What's the difference between a nutraceutical and vitamins is that it is medical grade, it's highly potent, and your levels need to be managed by your physician. There is no such a thing called vitamin D toxicity. That is a misnomer in the medical field. And zinc is probably the most essential mineral for functioning of the immune system. The recommended dose is 75 milligrams of zinc per day. The deficiency of zinc has led to an intense surge of pneumonia. So it's very protective of the respiratory system. This deficiency affects 2 billion people worldwide. And then 30% of Americans in the older years are zinc deficient. Hence, the coronavirus, COVID-19, taking the lives of so many of our elderly with pneumonia.
Wow. That's something that's just not talked about in the news.
No, it's not. They don't understand the pathophysiology of the process. They did a study with children. There were 64 children in the hospital with respiratory distress. Half of them got 30 milligrams of zinc, and the other half did not get zinc. They got a placebo. And there was a 2-day shortened stay of the people on zinc.
Wow.
So
You just don't
empowering
hear
the
that much
respiratory
about
system.
it these days,
Yes.
And again, trying to buy it over the counter, you're saying it's not really the optimal way to go.
It is not. You will not be getting the dose that's on the bottle is not necessarily what's inside. There's no FDA control.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
and the vitamins that we carry in our office are extremely inexpensive. For a woman, it costs her $20 a week, $80 a month to get the total spectrum of what they need. For a man, it's more like $25 because they take doses a little bit higher because their weight generally is higher.
Right. That makes sense.
Well, the first thing I'm going to talk about, in addition to zinc, is mushrooms. There are 270 species of mushrooms that have been used for ages, and they reduce symptoms of asthma and lung infections. They induce and increase the activity of natural killer cells, and those killer cells are a type of white blood cells, and those killer cells are empowered with a 38% more potency with mushrooms.
I hate that you're saying this because I'm one of those rare Americans probably that does not like mushrooms.
Well, for you, you're very lucky. Thorn carries a mycoimmune, so you can get your mushrooms and not even know you're getting them.
I love it. I love that. That's fantastic.
And believe it or not, mushrooms are very high in selenium and B vitamins, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, well, again, I'm happy to know that there is some alternative for people like myself, And I won't even get into the fact I don't like cheese. That seemed to outrage people. But go ahead. Talk a little bit more about this.
So berberine, and that's berberine, is a very potent antiviral.
Why have we never heard of berberine? I mean, it just doesn't seem to be a common thing.
Well, it's actually turmeric, and everyone's heard of turmeric.
Oh, okay.
So these patients improve in their results in their metabolism. It also benefits heart, brain, and digestive system. So it's kind of more of a comprehensive, potent antiviral.
That's fantastic. Now, again, you're saying berberine is turmeric?
Yes.
And again, I hope there are medical grade things that we can get there too, right?
Correct.
All right.
And we carry two forms, and I'll go over that in a little bit.
All right.
It also lowers your LDL by up to 25%, and blood sugar balance, weight loss, and energy. So it's got a lot of positive things.
You've talked to me in the past about how sometimes maybe you don't have to pay as much attention to what we think we do when it comes to the LDL and what's the other one?
Yes. We've traditionally been told that cholesterol is bad for us.
Right.
And large particle LDL is bad for us. LDL is made of a small particle and a large fluffy particle. Our brain is made of cholesterol and LDL. So I do not want to lower my cholesterol.
There you go.
And the second most important thing is how high is your HDL? And unfortunately, how do we get our HDL up?
How?
Exercise.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
And then the third thing is how small is your small particle LDL? That is the particle that attaches itself to your endothelium in your heart and causes plaque. It also does that in every area of your body.
Now, you were just talking about exercise, and I think we have to exercise the right to play a few spots here. And we'll be right back with the amazing Dr. Maryann from Health Wellness MD. All right, so we are back on Ask the Experts with a lady who I absolutely adore. Her name is Dr. Maryann, and she is with Health Wellness MD, and she and her staff are what we are calling coronavirus champions. And there's a reason for that, and she's going to explain that in just a moment. First of all, I wanted to ask you a question here, and that's, it says that COVID-19 symptoms may not start for 2 to 14 days from exposure.
That is correct, and that is why we are really begging each other for that 6 feet distance, and in addition, a mask. We want to protect the elderly. We want to protect the vulnerable. We want to protect the sick. And when you're out in public, you don't know someone else's story or their history.
And you might not know that you were sick.
Correct. There are many, many of us that have had the coronavirus. May have had a day when we had a little headache or a little fatigue or just not felt ourselves. But right now we don't have the luxury of testing. That is coming shortly. And the power of that testing is going to be that if we know that you have the antibodies, you will be able to donate blood and possibly get someone on a respirator off that respirator.
That's fantastic.
So there's some light at the end of the tunnel. There truly is.
Good. I wanted to say, by the way, we didn't mention this in the first segment. If you would like to find out what Health Wellness MD is all about and what the amazing Dr. Maryann does, you can go to healthwellnessmd.com. That's healthwellnessmd.com, or just simply give her a call at 972-380-1099. Again, that's 972-380-1099. And I understand you're doing some telemedicine, right?
Absolutely, and we've been doing it for quite some time. Our chief operating officer stays at the cutting edge of technology in terms of practicing medicine in an artful fashion. I have talked to patients in Mississippi, Atlanta, California, so I'm really working after hours, touching people's lives. And it could be as simple as a UTI, or it could be advice.
I was going to say, you sort of remind me of that song that, I was country when country wasn't cool.
Yeah.
You were doing all this before everybody else, and so that's awesome.
And the other issue, the ability to do telemedicine, I have not had to let any of my employees go. So that's what I am so very proud of in this crisis of unemployment.
Right. All of us are feeling that way, by the way, and thank you for doing your part. We sure appreciate that, you know. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about some of these, as you say, potent nutraceuticals. I knew I'd get it out.
Right.
You know.
The next one I'd like to talk about is quercetin. It is a very potent antiviral. Its benefits include strong antioxidant activity and modulation of histamine response. So when we get infected with a virus, sometimes the body overreacts, and that causes even more harm. And that's what happens with the respiratory system. It improves oxidant capacity, performance, and actually recovery. The next one I want to talk about is phytogen. It is a very potent antiviral, and it's actually composed of 4 different components. But the most interesting one is it contains echinacea. And echinacea, we all know, we take it during allergy season. It improves immune health and has some antiviral properties. It can actually reduce the risk of a cold by 45 to 58%.
Wow.
So
Wow.
anytime anyone is starting with cold symptoms, really important to load up with echinacea. And then curcumin is another form of turmeric. It has analgesic, anti-inflammatory, and antiseptic activity. It helps decrease the inflammation as well, very similar to the phytogen. And then one of my favorites is selenium.
Okay.
It's a mineral which helped prevent the bird flu, swine flu, and it's a potent antioxidant as well. It slows down the body's overactive response to certain aggressive forms of cancer, and it was used profusely during the SARS in Chinese medicine.
Let me give everybody who's listening, if you might have just tuned in, the Reader's Digest version of what we have talked about so far, which is a lot of the over-the-counter drugs just simply don't have the potency to be efficacious, if you will, during this time when everybody is trying to build up their immune system. And really our immune system is right now our only line of defense. Of course, we have the amazing Dr. Maryann, who's telling us about all the magical nutraceuticals that we can get. And I assume that if someone goes to your website, they may be able to find the things we're talking about here?
Yes, the majority of them. We are just now, Thorne is back ordered, of course, for the knowledgeable functional medicine physicians who've been ordering this like crazy. So we are going to have a shipment in at the end of this week with the zinc and many of these top 4 antivirals. So black elderberry has commonly been used throughout the history of mankind.
Black elderberry?
Black elderberry. It actually works by reducing the swelling of the mucous membranes. People who took 1 tablespoon 4 times daily shortened the course of their flu or cold by 4 days.
I've never heard of that before. I've heard of elderberry tea, and I've heard of elderberry syrup, but I didn't realize that it shortened the cold. That's
Yeah, it
interesting.
used to be peddled by the men who would travel with their,
Hurry, hurry, hurry,
Right,
step
correct,
right up.
correct, right.
Yeah, we're familiar with the snake oil salesman.
That's correct.
All right, now let's talk
That part wasn't snake oil. That was a good one.
That was the real thing. Okay, let's talk about more things that are the real thing, because we still have some little time left.
Okay, akaberry is a immune system stimulant, antioxidant. Garlic has major antiviral properties in colds, flu, and strongly potential for the COVID virus as well. Diet. We can't get all the nutrients from our food. Try to eat a broad variety of vegetables and fresh fruit. And believe it or not, 94% dark chocolate cocoa is one of the most potent antioxidant, and it actually binds free radicals.
94%.
Free radicals,
Okay.
dark chocolate.
Wow, 94% dark chocolate.
And then back to good old vitamin D. It is a fat-soluble vitamin, and if it's not taken with fat, you lose 32% of it is not absorbed.
So you don't get enough vitamin D from sunlight?
No, we don't. And back to the thyroid, which is one of my favorite things.
Okay.
I love the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, and I equate free thyroid that circulates as hell the computer.
All right.
Nothing happens without it. So Vitamin D decreases the risk of upper respiratory and pneumonia, which is the most important point here, and is very potent antiviral. 85% of my patients are vitamin D deficient.
85% of your patients are vitamin D deficient?
And it's a global public health problem because it's 1 billion people that are vitamin D deficient.
And of course we have to have that for our immune system, right?
Mm-hmm. And back to vitamin C, and we can't talk about vitamin C without talking about Linus Pauling, who won 2 prizes in 1954 and in 1962 for vitamin C. Uniquely, vitamin C is necessary for cellular death. And how that helps our immune system stay healthy is by cleaning out the old cells, broken down, not working real well, so that the new cells are released into the system.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yes. It reduces colds by 8% in adults and 14% in children. Prevents.
Wow.
So vitamin C during cold season is critical.
Is there certain foods you might recommend for vitamin C, people who might be deficient in that?
Leafy greens, spinach, kale, bell peppers, Brussels sprouts, strawberries, papaya are the most potent. And then coming back to B vitamins, and this is one of my pet peeves, doctors getting B12 shots should be shot. Okay?
Don't sugarcoat it like that, Dr. Maryann. Just tell it to us straight. We can handle it.
Our body needs B1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Okay.
And the most potent vitamin is B6. It's one of the most powerful vitamins in our immune systems to keep it in top condition.
Now, why are you very strongly against a B12 shot? I mean, what is up with that?
Well, it's water soluble, only hangs around for about 3 weeks.
And that's it?
That's it. And there's people going in for weekly shots. The thyroid doesn't even use B12. And that's our master hormone.
Wow.
Now, there's been lots and lots of questions about, has China really given us the right numbers? They probably haven't, but I really strongly believe in traditional Chinese medicine, they did a study with the SARS virus, and none of the participants who took the traditional Chinese medicine, these herbs and things that I've talked about, contracted SARS.
Seriously?
And then in the H1N1 influenza, the rate of SARS was significantly lower in people who were taking it. So traditional supplements that they use in China are astragalus, licorice root, fang feng, also known as silver root, actrodolotes, honeysuckle, and forsythia. So very, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm impressed you could pronounce all that, actually.
Yeah.
It was great.
So it's been proven, and we as physicians really have to take full circle. So much of disease is secondary to malnourishment of micronutrients.
Wow. All right, we just have a couple of minutes left, okay? And so I wanted to talk really quickly about what people can do, the average person like myself, who needs to, build up our immune system. Real quickly, what can we do about that?
Exercise, healthy lifestyle, no smoking, minimize drinking, and take these key nutraceuticals that are so powerful at the onset of any virus that happens to actually occur. And tune up before flu season.
Yeah.
Really get your immune system going.
I was going to say a lot of people don't have access to those nutraceuticals as we were talking about.
And are overwhelmed by the choices at the stores. On my website, there's lots and lots of information about the nutraceuticals.
Let me give that website out one more time. healthwellnessmd.com is the website. Again, healthwellnessmd.com is the website. And as the doctor has said, she has her crew of coronavirus champions that you can contact at any point at 972-380-1099. That's 972-380-1099. We want to thank you, doctor, for spending the time with us today. We super appreciate all the information you've given us. Again, this is the amazing Dr. Maryann from Health Wellness MD, and again, thank you so much.
And thank you for the opportunity to help educate.